before Head Start, there were programs for poor children in this country. I think of Susan Gray's project down in Nashville, the Deutsches project in New York City. There was actually one in New Haven that was sponsored by the Ford Foundation. But what characterized those programs was they were interested only in education. Only in education. What Head Start did was introduce really the whole child approach.
The whole child concept first was articulated back in 1930 in a conference on children that was being held by the White House. And it was a concept that was kicked around and people talked about, and I think people understood the importance of it. It's ironic that it was first mentioned in 1930, the very year that Ed Zigler was born, but it wasn't really until Head Start that anybody actually took it serious enough to actually do anything with that concept. It was an academic concept that Ed turned into a reality in terms of how we treat children and families.
Sadly, there are little children who are already headed for lives of frustration and misery. No one ever read them a story, taught them a nursery rhyme, showed them about colors, letters, and numbers.
Beginning in 1964, Sarah Shriver, who was the head of War on Poverty, really, had this big committee that planned Head Start. I was the youngest member.
One foot right in front of the other.
The thing that I remember the most was about the wisdom that went into the planning of this program. And it all started with the convening of a group called the Cook Committee. And they had the wisdom to see that you needed a healthy child, to have a child that would be prepared to learn, that you had to involve the parents to really be supportive of that child's development and learning, and also that the parents in turn would learn from being part of such a comprehensive program.
The planning committee was made up of leading scholars from diverse disciplines, including preschool education, pediatrics, child development, clinical psychology, social work, and nursing. The planning committee's overarching goal for Head Start was the optimal development of the children experiencing the Head Start program. The planning committee, unfortunately, provided a very long list of sub-goals to reach this major goal, and this long list resulted in the clear goal of Head Start remaining ambiguous. I myself then, in my own scholarship, decided to simplify by designating the 4 systems that were absolutely most critical in impacting human development. First and foremost is the family system. The other 3 being the health system, the education system, and the child care system, where so many children spend those critical early years of life. We had this big ballroom with a new colonial hotel, this old battered hotel. We didn't even have file cabinets. Applications began pouring in. We used to keep the applications off this ballroom were restrooms, and in them were bathtubs. And we kept the applications in those bathtubs. Now, what Jules Sugarman did that was really brilliant was hire substitute school teachers, and they would sit there, and they would go through these applications, and if they had an educational component, a health component, if they had all the components of Head Start, they would check it, and there'd be like 5 checks. And if they give them the 5 checks, the check for Head Start would go out to them. So in doing that, you know that you had to put in place a lot of poor programs.